Hi, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another video, and this is a paid request for Fadi. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, tier lists, rankings, whatever the case may be video-wise, feel free to send it. PayPal's the best way to do it. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. And Fadi, this is the last request from him. He wanted me to do the Matrix commentary and a review for it. So let's get into it. I'm paused at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. So here we have the Warner Bros. Logo. Now I know that when this film was in theaters, and then you went to like VHS and like the first Snapper Case DVD, the color scheme was original. But then when they put it to other DVD and even Blu-ray forms, they changed the color scheme to make it look like the sequels, where there's a lot more green. Now I heard that maybe on the 4K or something like that, they changed at least a little bit back to what it originally was, but I don't know why you needed to change the damn color scheme in the first place. Because it's supposed to be like more green in the Matrix and more blue in the real world, but I think they try to make it look, I don't know. It's like, don't mess with it. I hate when they do that shit. But yeah, I remember I got to see this in the theater back in the day. Got to see this in the theater because that was around the time when Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, was coming out as well. And this seemed like a pretty big deal, big sci-fi event just from the trailers. And we as a family rarely got to go to the theater, so the fact that we went to the theater more than once in a year was surprising. Because we were like 20 some miles away at least. But I remember seeing this in the theater just being blown away, going, what? It just felt so new and unique and different. And yeah, if you watch it, if you knew about manga, anime, etc., this would be a bit more familiar. But as a guy that the only anime I saw back then was Akira on VHS. That's the only one. Never read a manga in my life. This felt completely new. And it's weird, like a few months later, or even a month later, because I think this was in April, March or April, this came out in 99. When you got to May, Phantom Menace felt like old hat compared to this. And, you know, I didn't hate the Phantom Menace when I first saw it. But, man, like the Matrix, so much more my kind of movie. R-rated, guns blazing, fight scenes. Special effects seemed so unique at the time. Then, of course, afterward, everyone kept ripping them the fuck off. But that right there, where it swirls the camera, I'm like, whoa, like, I'd never seen something like that before. That you could tell when Carrie-Anne Moss, her hand is at the hip and that's holding the wire. But yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss, the rest of it, you know, handles it very well. It just had a cool factor, the way everyone's dressed in black. A lot of people wanted to dress like that and were influenced by that. And then, not the first movie with bullet time, Blade had a bit of that in 1998 when Wesley Snipes tried to shoot Steven Dorff. And Steven Dorff goes like this, and you see the bullets slowly go by him. But yeah, this is a film that they obviously had some hope for because they put, I don't know, $60 to $90 million in it. But I don't think they knew it'd be like this big, where it became a franchise. They're well, now 4 movies, multiple video games. There's another cool shot coming out where she does the super jump. Coming up is right here. Yeah, right here. I felt like just cool. Like the word I would keep thinking about is cool. Like that looked cool. He landed cool. Everything's fucking cool. It was hip. It was cool. You know, all those words. The damn Superman. Right there, many people like Carrie-Anne Moss. She's pretty cool. I mean, what a great way to open up your film to see like these unique stunt visuals. It definitely brings a certain attention to, okay, this film wants to be a little bit different here. And the way it's edited, the camera angles, like when she was getting arrested and you had like between her the arm in here and the focus on the top, the way it's edited where go back and forth, she's by the telephone booth, is she gonna make it? Very nicely edited to keep that tension going until the reveal that there is no body. Now, I think this film, the Wachowskis, when they were the Wachowskis, as in they had their balls, literally, they were guys. They were the Wachowski brothers. I guess what you call the Wachowski sisters, I guess? I don't know. Well, hey, it's your body, not mine. To each their own. Not something I would do, but again, to each their own. Your body, your choice. Be my guest. They had written, or they had done that film Bound. They had written the film Assassins with Sylvester Stallone, but they said that the script was rewritten, so it was very little to what was actually released. The Stallone Antonio Banderas movie, the Richard Donner did, which I don't mind Assassins, but again, the Wachowski said the script was very little from what they had written. Again, they did this film Bound. Now, I keep getting different reports in terms of this. I heard at one point they wanted Brandon Lee for this character. I don't know if that's true. I've heard one thing, I've heard another thing, but I've heard maybe it's like a pie in the sky, or they thought, oh, that'd be cool, like Brandon Lee. Like Brandon Lee, I could see in this role. And who knows, maybe if The Crow, if he had not died during it, The Crow was a hit. Think about the style of The Crow. Dressed in black, 2 guns, pistol, a banging in that one big action scene. Like, that whole action scene feels like an action scene that would be in The Matrix. Guy dressed in black, got the 2 guns, a little bit of kicks, martial arts, a little bit there, but not a ton. That was 94. This was 99. If Brandon Lee had survived, had lived, and he did, 1 or 2 other films that did decent business, maybe be like, hey, here's this up-and-coming guy. Keanu Reeves, I liked. Keanu Reeves, I think, did a great job as Neo. But I will admit, there's that part of me that if that was the case, and if they had went to Brandon Lee, and if Brandon Lee had said yes, that would have been awesome to see. But again, I don't know the validity of those claims, but I'm just saying, while Keanu Reeves, I think, did a great job, Brandon Lee, that would have been really cool, really neat to see. And then, of course, Will Smith. Apparently, Will Smith said no. I think at one point it was like Will Smith and then Val Kilmer would be Morpheus. I think Laurence Fishburne was way better than what Val Kilmer would have been. Will Smith, I'm honestly glad he said no, because I don't hate Will Smith as an actor. As a person, he's a cuck, he's a simp. But as an actor, I didn't mind him. I liked him in Men in Black. I liked him in Independence Day, Bad Boys films. But I'm glad it was Keanu Reeves. But yeah, Will Smith, apparently he didn't do it because the way the Wachowskis talked to him, it was just about the technical. The camera's this, and the camera does this, whoosh, and then whoosh. And so, like, they didn't really explain it properly. They didn't really explain it in detail. So then Will did Wild Wild West, which came out the same year. And of course, that was labeled an embarrassment. I know he says, because he did a video about it. Oh, Keanu Reeves, who's the right guy for the job and such. I guarantee you there's a part of him. There's a fucking part of him that says, man, I fucked up. The Matrix is this phenomenon. Like, the people don't realize the Matrix was a phenomenon. It came out and people go, what the fuck? If people would not stop talking about it. Like, it became very influential because, again, a lot of films ripped it off, etc. Wild Wild West was a fucking embarrassment for Will Smith's career. People still mock it to this day. Well, maybe not to this day, but they'll still mock it. And Wild Wild West, I don't even think it's Will Smith's worst film. I'd rather watch it than 7 Pounds, or After Earth, or some other bullshit. But anyway. So I guarantee he was sitting there kicking himself in the ass. Now, see, again, depending on which version you watch, the version I'm watching, it's more green, and I do remember this was not green when I saw it. In the theater, VHS, this was not green. This was more blue. But again, for some stupid ass fucking reason, in future releases, they wanted to make this more green, which was stupid. Just the whole point is that the Matrix itself is more green. But here, Rio is more blue, so this should be more blue. But they made it more green. Again, if I understand in the 4K, they tried to tone it down a little bit, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't have the 4K. I'm not getting every fucking film I like in 4K. Because I'm not going to replace my whole goddamn library of movies with a 4K of it. I'm sorry, I don't have the fucking money for that. But yeah, I mean, films afterward, Bulletproof Monk, even Charlie's Angels, with the way they did the martial arts. So Charlie's Angels, Bulletproof Monk, there's a lot of movies that ripped it off. And then, of course, you had the Matrix sequels, Reloaded in 2003, then a bit later, Revolutions. Now, Keanu Reeves as Mr. Anderson. I do like him. He seems like a very nice guy. He doesn't always make the best movies. I love the first 3 John Wick films. I love Constantine. I really like the first 2 Bill and Ted movies. Street Teens, I think, is pretty good. But he makes a lot of bad films too. Replicas was pretty bad. The 3rd Bill and Ted movie I thought was pretty bad. The last Matrix film, Resurrections, very fucking bad. God, I'm trying to think. Knock Knock, in my opinion, embarrassing. And like John Wick 4, I know everybody and their mom, their dad, and their goldfish loved John Wick 4. I did not. I was very, very disappointed in John Wick 4. On the side, I remember like so many people got like there were people that were nice about it, but people who disagree with my opinion, they were getting like very personal, like, oh, you fucking idiot, you're not a true fan. And they go, and it's so stupid you're complaining that John Wick dies. They don't make a 5th one, and they don't bring him back. I'm like, you don't know that. And they go, oh, they're making a new one. I'm like, are you sure? Because I remember there was a recent Keanu Reeves interview where he's like, no, the guy's dead. There's no John Wick 5. I hate to be the... Well, they said that... I don't give a fuck what they said. Sylvester Stallone said there's going to be a Demolition Man 2 like 2 years ago. He said it. That don't mean shit. Okay? Until you see a trailer, it doesn't exist. They like that John Wick died. They like that ending. Keanu Reeves not getting younger. You know, the director is doing that Highlander movie, and when the hell is that going to come out? And then, does he want to do like Ghost of Tsushima or some other thing? And then Keanu Reeves, like, he's broken down. He can't do that stuff anymore. He can't move as well as he could anymore. He hurt himself a lot in the John Wick films, especially the first three. You're not getting the John Wick 5, especially not how you think. If it happens and it becomes good, I'll love to eat my words. I'll eat them with a bowl of cereal. Fruity Pebbles, Apple Cinnamon Cheerios, be my guest. I'll eat them and like them and smile them and go, I'm sorry. Until then, it doesn't exist. So, but anyway, back to this. There's a video game, well, there's two video games. There's Enter the Matrix, which I never got to play, because I had the game. I actually had the game twice. But each time I tried to, for some reason, that's one game that whenever I bought it on, because I remember buying it cheap. It was always for cheap, because, like, no one else bought it. And so it would be, like, $3. I bought it twice, and each time I bought it, I had a different PlayStation 2, and it would not work. Like, those one of those games that would never work on a PlayStation 2. Like, I don't know why. But I hope someone requests that one day, because now I can play the ROM on my computer with the PSX2, and I love to finally play the fucking game after all these years. So I hope one day someone requests that. And also, I hope someone requests The Matrix Path of Neo, because that's a game I do own. It could actually be over here, now that I think about it. I played that a long time ago. Okay, yeah, it's over there, I guess. But I played that game a long time ago. And the reason I bring that up is I remember that scene there, when you're sneaking around, was a lot longer, because you actually do go outside. Like in that one, he stopped, and then you have this scene here. No, in the game, you actually do sneak out, and there's this whole thing where you're, like, going outside, and you're going around, like, construction, and you actually do escape. You actually do escape to... And that was what's interesting about that game, is that I guess it's been over 10 years since I played it, at least. So my memory is vague. But it's like Keanu Reeves did the voice, which was cool. There's some new stuff where there's like these training missions. So like one was like you're a samurai. One you're dressed up like you were a kung fu, like Bruce Lee type. And it was a lot of complicated controls in that game. And like the ending was different, because he actually did fight like a big bad guy. I do remember being seemed like an ambitious game. But yeah, that's a game I would actually like to try again. But yeah, I remember that being fun. But yeah, it's been forever since I played it. But yeah, there were at least those two video games. I don't know if there were any others. I think there was some... There might have been an online game, maybe? Or maybe that was something else, I can't remember. Now, of course, but yeah, Keanu Reeves I do like as an actor. It's just that, yeah, I don't think every film he's done has been great. Then you got Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving, my favorite role from him. I think he does a wonderful job. Just the right voice, the right cadence. Hello, Mr. Anderson. what do you think you're doing over here? Like, it just makes it unique for him and just makes it so much of a bad guy that I want to focus on. The way he's saying the words, a certain cadence with it, how studious he is. And of course, he would play. He was in what, Lord of the Rings, and he was in Captain America: The First Avenger, the Red Skull. I give you the finger. I give my phone call. I do like that. I give you the finger. And I thought this was a cool effect where his mouth starts kind of melding together so then he can't speak anymore. I guess to be fair, like what I was saying before, they are still in the Matrix. I'm like, oh, isn't this supposed to be more blue? So I guess to be fair, be going on a rant and screwing up. What I was talking before were Terry and Moss, and they are still in the Matrix. Even that point, when Terry and Moss first reached Keanu Reeves, they're still in the Matrix. I don't know why I kept thinking they were in the real world, but I think what it is I remember that scene being more blue. And because in the sequels, they specifically want to make it, if you're in the Matrix, it's all green, real world all blue. I get that sentiment, but I didn't in the original. And I think that actually would make sense because the way Keanu Reeves sees it is blue, just like in the real world is blue. But maybe make it where once he knows this is fake, now he sees it much more green and not, you know what I mean? Like, the real world is bluish. Well, to him, this is the real world. So make that blue in the way he sees the world. But then, once he finds out the truth, then that blue could turn to green, and then now he knows the truth. The veil has been lifted like everyone else, and now he sees more green. Unlike the real world, which is blue, because to him, it's not the real world anymore here. Now he knows that it's a fakery, it's a mockery. And I think that could have been a good intention from the get-go. I'm sure it wasn't, but that's, I think you keep that blue for those instances. But yeah, in that scene I was talking about before, it was still in the Matrix, of course. But I didn't word it right. So, of course, I worded like 10 minutes later, so. But if you still watch this commentary, then yes, I know that was still in the fake world, the Matrix. But, anyway. But yeah, that was I like some of the cool creative ideas, like the mouth being shut, like we saw before. And cool shots like this here with the water cascading down from the bridge. But also, I don't like when they start changing shit from the original and then not give people the option. Whether color timing, deleting scenes, adding scenes. Don't do that shit. Like, if you want to do that shit, then give people the option to see the original version. But, stop fucking around because people may like what you originally did. Now, of course, the idea of having a world where you find out your reality is not the true reality is not an original concept unto itself. I mean, hell, you had, or the world you think it is. I mean, hell, you had, and different variations, but look at the Truman Show. Jim Carrey, he thinks this is all real, but then he finds out this is a big TV show, and he's the star of it ever since he was a baby. Dark City, which you did definitely see Dark City was before this, and the way that people are dressed, and some the atmosphere, the darkness of the movie. Everyone thinks this is all how it is. Then they find out that you have these alien beings, and it's been a while since I've seen Dark City, but isn't it all like on a giant fucking spaceship or something like that? You find out. Yes, I think like William Hurt goes into space, jettisoned into it. But Total Recall, even maybe to a point, possibly, as in, is what you're experiencing a dream, your fantasy being fulfilled of you being the hero to save Mars, or were you really the secret agent that blew my cover? And people can interpret the ending and such how they want. Even some films like Jacob's Ladder, to a point, not to get more into it without spoiling more of it. Just depends, just depends. But yeah, it's not a new concept of the sort. But the way it's done, the way it's handled, the way it's approached, the style, the clothing, the camera work, the camera angles, the special effects that were cutting edge at the time and unique, and people didn't see that, and it was creating its own mythology that I think people like me of that age got suckered into in a good way. Much like maybe people back in the day really got into Star Wars. And I do think that as much as I like the sequels, yes, I'm one of the few people that like Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Resurrections. I know people look at me like got turds coming out of my mouth and all over my beard when I say that. But yes, I like the Matrix 2 and I like the Matrix 3. The fourth one, no. I thought the fourth one, I knew it was going to be dog shit. I reacted to the trailer, said it'd be dog shit. Some people said it was crazy, and then it turned out to be dog shit. And most of the things I guessed, I was right about. Oh, Carrie Ann Moss, her character's going to be the one. Well, kinda. They're the shared one. I'm like, no, it's going to be this. Then it was. As Laurence Fishburne, well, let me go into that first. Laurence Fishburne, really good actor. Now, funny enough, his career could have been different because at one point he was going to be in Pulp Fiction, but then something came about. Well, maybe Tarantino thought, hey, you want to do Pulp Fiction, and something, either Fishburne said no or something came up, and then Sam Jackson did it. But then also, I think Laurence Fishburne was going to do Die Hard with a Vengeance. And then something came up where Sam Jackson got the part. Whether because of the success of Pulp Fiction, well, Pulp Fiction's a big hit, big deal, Sam Jackson, get him in there. I know Laurence Fishburne sued and won. I don't know how much he won. But I know there's a big kerfuffle about that with Tarantino and Sam and Laurence Fishburne. You can look it up on the interwebs. Like, I looked at it sparingly. But as an actor, I liked him in Event Horizon. I've liked him in quite a few other films. And even films, I mean, Fled was an okay film, but he was pretty good in it. Like, he's a very capable actor, Laurence Fishburne. Very capable actor. Event Horizon and this is probably my favorite performances from him. Definitely have the student mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, all those aspects that could be familiar throughout the ages. And this is always a memorable bit, the pills. Go back to Wonderland. Yeah, I love the style, like the reflection in the glasses. Very cool visual style there. And the Matrix, I think, was definitely a lightning in a bottle that would be very, very hard to recapture that impact. Because I think people didn't expect much when it came out. Because Keanu Reeves had done sci-fi films like Johnny Mnemonic. And Johnny Mnemonic, I know some people love the film. I don't think it's that great. I mean, that's a film where Dolph Lundgren gets killed by a fucking dolphin. A psychic or whatever fuck it was dolphin. I mean, Flipper just killed Dolph Lundgren. What the fuck? I mean, there's some fun parts in Giant Mnemonic, like, but yeah, it wasn't great or anything, in my opinion. I mean, I could watch it more than some other bullshit. Don't get me wrong, it's not the worst film. There are some fun parts to it, but I wouldn't call it great. So, I mean, people think of that film, that was like 95, and Keanu Reeves had done another flop called Chain Reaction, which is okay. I don't mind it, but it was kind of like a lesser version of The Fugitive from the same director, Andrew Davis. And then Chain Reaction I had fun with. It's not a classic or anything though, but I don't mind it. Chain Reaction's okay, but it flopped. And so Keanu Reeves, is it okay? He had the film Speed, and now these films are not really doing the best. I did Johnny Mnemonic, and Chain Reaction flopped. So, like, okay, is this going to be another flop? Or is it going to be another Johnny Mnemonic sci-fi flop? And of course, and even Laurence Fishburne, he was in Event Horizon, which like I said, I do like. That film flopped. So, okay, these two guys were in sci-fi films before that flopped. Carrie Ann Moss is pretty new. I mean, she was what in the Mark Dacascos film Sabotage. Which actually, I think I have the Blu-ray over there. Someone was nice enough to send it to me. I haven't watched it yet. I've seen the film a while ago, but I do need to rewatch that film, Sabotage. But yeah, there's always an interesting thing with all the Mercury type of stuff around him. Interesting, to say the least. And again, another interesting shot, seeing that go into his throat like that, and then you have the POV of him waking up, realizing he was a Duracell battery. But the thing is, like, stuck right in your fucking head, too. And that realization of what you realize, the painful truth that you're just a battery to run the machine. You're just a battery to run the machine. And just look how many people there are. Just a shitload. I like the designs of these as well. Very insect-like. And very insect-like. You're getting flushed, dude. You're getting flushed. Now, was that thing with the bad guys, or that was with our heroes? And if so, I'm trying to think what made it so. Okay, I'm going to disconnect him and flush him down. Is it to flush him because we have no use for you anymore, so we don't need you anymore? When you want to take him in the study, go, how did you get out? Was that flushed down to try to just have him drown and fuck it, let him die? When you want to just put him back into the pod, isn't there a way to just inject him? He's knocked out and just put him back into the Matrix? Uno's baby's like, hey, they thought he was a dead battery, so they throw him away. Damn. Well, I mean, yeah, I think though, you never really used your limbs, you never used your legs, you never used your arms, you never used your actual body, so you would be able to move, to walk, to anything. So it makes it so that your muscles will actually be able to work and you'll be actually able to move after decades and decades of really never truly being able to use them. And the fact you don't have all these stars and like implants still embedded in there. Nice visual detail that tells the whole story. And now you see in the true real world things are a lot more blue. Blue, blue, blue. But see, like the way this looked is how it looked at the very, very beginning Can when he met Carrie Ann Moss. But which again, like something about this looks more of the real world. And you're supposed to think that when you're first watching The Matrix, you're not supposed to think something is off, something is weird. Now, after this, you want to go back to The Matrix and everything's green? Okay, now that the truth has been unveiled, but I don't know. But as Neo is being pretty much taught as to the dealings of the real world, they get into what I was saying before about the sequels. Yes, I actually like the sequels. The second and third one, that is. I will admit, the first one is still the best. The sequels. The thing with me with Matrix 2 and 3, I get what they were doing. I appreciate what they were doing. I thought it was an interesting story they told with some really wonderful action set pieces and style and coolness to it still. But I think the story they told is not the story most people wanted to see told. I think, for me, when I look at Matrix 2 and 3, I like the idea that in Matrix 2, you could say they try to be too smart for their own good. People expected the typical Star Wars type of, like Star Wars. The rebels are going to fight the Empire, overcome the evil bad guys, and that's what it'd be. The second part, they take the war to the machines, everything's go dire, and then the third one, they defeat the machines. But it wanted to go more of this philosophical, pseudo-scientific, pseudo-philosophical ideals, where the second one is, oh yeah, there are multiple Neos, and the whole idea of the whole idea of Neo is another system of the Matrix, and there are multiple Neos, and like try to make it very complicated. And I could tell when I saw Matrix Reloaded in the theater, the second film, which I liked it so much I saw it twice in the theater. When it got to who I call the Colonel Sanders scene, the guy looks like trying to sell you some KFC. When Mr. Colonel Sanders is talking and talking and talking and trying like all these philosophical sound bites, I could feel the audience dissipate in the theater. I could feel it. And I was as well. I could feel the audience going, because it kept going on in this droning, boring fashion. It felt like 15 fucking minutes. And man, that killed the to me, I really truly believe that killed the franchise, that scene. When I say kill the franchise, as in from then on, this franchise was never be looked at as the first one was. And again, this comes from a guy that likes the sequels for a variety of reasons that, it would take me an hour just to get into that. But as a franchise that could be lengthy like Star Wars and many other franchises, that killed it. That Colonel Sanders scene. Because no one loves that scene. No one likes that scene. They go, like, you look at this scene here where it's giving out exposition, but the way Laurence Fishburne says it, it's very matter of fact. It's very straightforward. The way it's done visually, where you're in this complete white, and then the camera zooms down, and there's Morpheus in the chair, and you see the torn apart, destroyed city in the back. You're telling it visually to an audience. You're telling it creatively to an audience with these different backdrops. I mean, you have the complete white. You have this here. You have the destroyed city in the background that we saw and then soon after it's going to be with the lady in red, and you're telling a backstory, but you're telling exposition, but you're doing it in an interesting fashion so you don't bore the audience. And the way Laurence Fishburne talks is not in a droning, unemotional status. I didn't go into this is how a baby, show, don't tell. It's showing you. Laurence Fishburne's telling you a bit, but it's showing you. This is how they are as babies, and this is where you get picked up, and then you're gonna be put into the pods, and I didn't show us how it's happening. Show us what's going on. Show us that it's a fucking farm, and they're picking just like they're picking mangoes, picking oranges. They're picking you up from the human farm. And there's some pretty crazy practical effects here. This practical baby with the tubes. And then pulling it out, then you're in a TV. See, this is how you do exposition. This is how you do it right. Showing people visually, performance-wise. And then the next film, they do that one scene and they do it poorly. I think there's some interesting ideas they showcase in that. And again, that's what I appreciate. I appreciate the sequels being a bit different. That the third film, it's the fact that, fighting and fighting and fighting is not the answer. Us being united is the answer. So if, the humans are the body and the Matrix is the brain, the machines perhaps are the soul. And then if you watch the Animatrix and you realize how the machines were created, and then how things got fucked up, and how the machines were not the total bad guys to begin with, and they also listened to their masters, and the way it ends is when Neo melds all three together. Him as the body, going into the machine, the heart of the machine, linking the matrix and the machine together with his human body, given a truce. And I think that's a big part of the audience. They don't want a truce. What, a truce? Really? And all this other stuff? They didn't want that. They want the good guys to fight the bad guys, to kick the bad guy ass. Because when you watch it in the first film, there's that cool, you guns, you know. Him versus Agent Smith and kicking his ass, and then him going to Agent Smith and making him explode, and the warning, you know, on the phone, Rage Against the Machine, you know, R-rated, the gunplay was not as, like the way it was in this, wasn't as prevalent. There's still gunplay, but not like it was in this. Now, granted, that's also probably because of Columbine happening, and people, oh, maybe it's the Matrix that caused it because they're dressed in black and there's guns. Movies don't make people kill people. Fucked up, stupid, delusional people are fucked up, stupid, delusional people. And they'll use anything. They'll use a goddamn Garfield comic if they need to. That's the truth. If it wasn't The Matrix, it'd be some other fucking movie, it'd be other video game, it'd be some comic book, it'd be an actual book that they would use that. So I just replied to a message. But yeah, I appreciate the ideas they were showcasing. And so him being the one, it's not following the typical program of being the savior and trying to defeat the machines. It was the fact that there had to be another way. And by him doing this and this, it creates this truce between man and machine. So people who want to leave, they can leave, and then people who do want to stay in the Matrix, they can stay in the Matrix. And who knows how the truce, you know, and that's where it's going more towards. And I think people like, I think they wanted the more, because that's kind of what the first film was selling. That's the thing. The second film was kind of pushing away what the first film was selling. Humans up against the deadly evil machines that look deadly, you know, with the sentinel, however you want to put it. And then how evil the machines are, the Matrix, I should say, where they're killing the rebellious people, murdering them, all that other stuff. It'd be like if in by the end of Return of the Jedi, I guess technically Darth Vader and Luke work together to defeat the Emperor, so you have that, but and there was a truce between them and the Stormtroopers. You know what I mean? You'd be like, what? I just... There's a lot more to it than I'm simplifying it, but... And there's other aspects people didn't like about the sequels, but again, I appreciate what they were trying to do. But I think that was definitely not what most people wanted. That's just the way I look at it. And by doing stuff a little bit different, and also again having stupid shit like that Colonel Sanders scene go on for like 5 hours, then or a bit too much fucking dancing, and the goddamn. Okay, I don't need to see 10 minutes of people fucking dancing on Zion. And then we have the martial arts scene here. Definitely one of the scenes people remember from the movie. Keanu doing a little bit of Bruce Lee. Of course, the line before it, I know Kung Fu. Now, I know at one point, Keanu Reeves got hurt during the movie, and that's why I think during the lobby shootout, he was supposed to be doing a lot more like acrobatic kicks and stuff. But he couldn't do a whole lot. That's why he kind of did that one kick. But it's mostly a lot more straightforward, like gunplay. Which worked well, though, for the scene. And then when he's more healed up, he could do scenes like this and the bit with Hugo Weaving at the end and such. I forget. I think it's Yuen Wu Ping. I think it was him. Or was it... God, who did the choreography on The Matrix? Or was it... Yeah, Yuen Wu Ping. Okay. I wanted to make sure. Who else did Cross You Tiger Hidden Dragon, Kill Bill, among other films. And one of the things that is great about this is the fact they're using wide angle cameras. Is that not everything is up close like this. A lot of it's wide to really show them going through the moves, and it's not cut to ribbons. It's not cut every 5 milliseconds. So let's see you do this and see the speed and movement choreography. Let's see the wide shots where you see both of them are in their elements. It's not edited to shit. It's not up close where you see the nose hairs. Very well done, as it should be. Not trying to remember if that one guy is who I think it is. Is that Jack Noseworthy? The smaller, thinner guy talking, almost cheering Keanu Reeves on. Come on, let me see the cast. No, I guess not. I don't know his name. Matt Doran? Yeah, I think maybe Matt Doran. Okay. Jack Noseworthy was the guy in Event Horizon, never mind. He reminds me a bit of him. So never mind. See, and the way Neo's talking to him is kind of like what Chow Yun-fat would talk to Sean William Scott in Bulletproof Month, which is like one of the more obvious, not in terms of story, but in terms of other bits, like the student mentor, defying gravity elements, ripped off fucking Matrix. Whoa. Which is heavily in, like, every trailer had that whoa. No, that's another thing. This was very well marketed. Like the poster, Which may not be the poster I'll use for this. I'll use that because he wants a review. I'll use that for the review. But you know that the poster with Keanu Reeves standing there, and in the back you had Terry Ann Moss and Laurence Fishburne. That poster was just a kick-ass, as simple as it is, just stylistic poster. But yeah, so many films like Equilibrium, even with Christian Bale, like so many films wanted people dressed like that, look like that, try to push action in that direction. I'm trying to think. God, I'm trying to think. Yeah, a lot of TV commercials, cartoon, like everybody wanted to reference the Matrix. So by the time you got to the Matrix Reloaded in 2003, the stuff kind of didn't feel as special because everybody ripped it off from 99 to 2003. Like, so many fucking things ripped it off, copied it, or tried to copy it, that it even felt a bit old, and people were kind of over it by the time the second one came out, in a way. At least that's what it seemed like for some people. Terry Ann Moss, I do like as an actress. She was also the mom in Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf, and she's in other films as well. And of course, Joe Pantoliano, should mention him. Joey Pants, great character actor. But yeah, Joe Pantoliano, he was in The Goonies, of course. He was in the Bad Boys films till they killed him off in the third movie. But yeah, Joe Pantoliano, again, great character actor. Apparently, he was a bit upset where he didn't want to be killed off. And then it's like, well, maybe if you do this and that, I won't be killed off. Now, I don't know if they told him. For some reason, I remember they said they told him, no, we're not going to kill you off, and then they did. And he seemed a bit upset with that. Again, I wish, some of these stories, I wish I knew verbatim. Because there's a lot of stories out there with The Matrix. But yeah, if you look that up, you can find out more for yourself. But yeah, since the second one and the third one made money, they did pretty decent at the box office. They weren't flops. And even critically, I think like Rotten Tomatoes, they may be. Well, I don't know. I think the second one is like over 60%. Third one might not have been. But by the time we got to the third one, which again I mean, I talk about the second one. I love the freeway chase. I think it's exhilarating. I know it doesn't hold up the best visually, but when you find all the Smiths, just how crazy he is that he's fighting all these guys. I think there's some fun choreography. Well, it gets to everything CG, and you have the CG Neo. I remember in the theater being blown away and going, "What the fuck?" Because I didn't expect that. I did not know it was going to be that long. There was that many fucking bad guys. He's just like, it's like a fucking video game. It's like beat 'em up video games, like and the music fits so well. For a guy who's 20-year-old that's into action, I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Yeah, if you watch that scene, you could tell the CG Neo. You could tell. But for 2003, I think he was very ambitious. Very, very ambitious. And then, but him doing the Superman thing, I thought was really cool. Yeah, freeway chase scene I thought was awesome. The fight scenes I thought were a lot of fun. Even the third one, like the third one, I remember started off a bit slow. I would say it's my least favorite of the three. It's such that Carrion, Trinity, and Neo died. I don't think Trinity needed to die because you just saved her in the second film. Neo, okay, I get it, the self sacrifice. But yeah, I don't think you need to kill off Trinity. Morpheus, I kind of wish he had a bit more to do. Again, I have issues with the third film, but there's a lot that I do like about the third one, especially the fight between him and Mr. Smith at the end. I think it's a very epic looking fight. The music. To me, that fight is a better Superman action scene than any of the Superman films that have come out after that. It's like, what's the best Superman fight scene you've witnessed? Matrix 3. But I mean, I definitely have more issues with that than the other two. But I liked it. It's not how I would have ended it. The fourth one was a total train wreck, and I'm not going to into it because it's fucking. To be honest, I've kind of wiped that movie out of my brain for good reason. But yeah, that fucking it. The fourth one was so. And then there was talks of a fifth one. Oh, the whole point of this, when Matrix 2 and 3 came out, they might have done decent at the box office, but the hype was dead. 2 and 3 killed the hype that people had for it. People were not interested in anything Matrix related anymore. Now there are people like me who like them, but 9 out of 10 people, 8 out of 10 people go, oh, the first one was good. The others, so. And that's what's looked at nowadays. To the point that some would say it negates, the sequels negate the first one because the first one made this big impact and the sequels kind of diluted the, I guess you would say kind of what Disney Star Wars has done to the original Star Wars. Like there's been so many shitty Star Wars films, it kind of dilutes the, for a lot of people, the specialness of the original. So it doesn't feel as a golden boy as it used to. Interesting scene because it seems like Joe is feeling Neo out, how he'll react. Do you really believe in what Morpheus is saying about you? Morpheus is saying that you're here to save the world, but yeah, I don't know if I can really believe that. And I'm talking to this guy, and even he doesn't believe in that. Yeah, then you have this bit here where he's like, listen, I know this is fake. I know this is not real, but it tastes good. When the AI takes over, and eventually it will, this will be me. I'll be Joey. Sorry, suckers. I'm going to be here in my fantasy, enjoying my mellow yellow and my pepperoni pizza and playing video games, watching movies, and you guys can do whatever you want. I'll suck up to and say hi to the AI overlords. I'm like, yes sir, no sir. So I'll be just like him. So I gotta learn, I gotta study Joe Pantoliano's patterns here for the future. Anyway, got the same bald head, both got facial hair. On my way. You think I'm bullshitting? I don't smoke cigars though. I won't do that. But and you have that nice steak, and then you have this here. Now, how is it that no one realizes that Joel Pantoliano has put down into the Matrix? I don't know. It just seems like with those, like, you'd have to know. Like, wait, how come he's not here at dinner? How come, wait a minute, he's jacked into the Matrix? Like, someone could walk in and go, what the fuck you doing? You going down there by yourself? What were you doing down there by yourself? Like, I didn't. No one notices Joe is in the Matrix. It was an interesting idea though, like how chicken tastes like chicken. Maybe they made you think it tastes like chicken. Maybe chicken tasted like ham. Maybe chicken tasted like turkey. Maybe chicken tasted like sausage. You know what I mean? Maybe sausage tasted like apples. Or, I mean, that's the thing. Like, how would you know specifically? You're being told that's what it tastes like. But maybe that in reality, that's not how it tasted to begin with. Like, maybe this really tasted like a Pepsi. Okay, so he's not. So, Joe, what? Okay, so there was Joe. So I guess to answer my question, Joe was not in the Matrix at that time. But still, anytime like he went in there, like no one notices he's in there. Like whenever he did, but okay. This is a cool shot. The swirling around the camera of the phone and then revealing. Very cool reveal. Swirling the camera. Again, stuff like that. Simple scene, but done in a unique way to make what it would have been a typical scene pop more. It could be you go in, I'm here. Let's do it a little bit different way. Let's have this cool camera shot going back and forth, nice editing from the real world to the Matrix world. And then that's what filmmakers do. Take a scene. How do we make this scene work as well as it could, as well as it might, as well as it should? And don't waste a shot. Don't waste a scene. I mean, maybe you could say the sequels got a bit too big for their britches. That maybe in the first film they kind of had to edit themselves. But that was actually maybe for the better. Because again, this is a very straightforward story. Yeah, I think people would have preferred that in the sequels. And part of me would love to have seen what that would have been. But then there's that part of me that likes, the uniqueness of what they did. But at the same time, Even I can say, yes, I do think the first one is the best one. So I'm trying to look up. Also, what was interesting about the when the Blu-rays came out, they had two commentary tracks. One was with critics that pretty much was praising the first film, but then when they got to the second and third film, they were just shitting on them. And then you had another commentary with philosophers who were fans of each of the three films. So it was interesting that you really got that difference, different dynamic between people praising and people critiquing it. Just weird that they're watching Night of the Lepus on TV. Maybe because of the rabbit notion. Follow the rabbit at the beginning. Maybe. Of course, one of the famous lines that there is no spoon. Kid looks like Gandhi. There though, there is no spoon. Which I always think of Dog Soldiers, where there's a character named Spoon. The werewolf eats him, and then, where is he? Where's Spoon? There is no spoon. So they reference that. But my favorite werewolf film, Dog Soldiers, they reference that line from the Matrix in that movie. Now, this actress they got, I thought she did a really good job. And what's sad is that by the time he got to the sequels, I can't remember if they had started filming with her or not, but she sadly passed away. And then they got a different actress. And they did mention, oh yeah, it looked a bit different. Which I thought the actress did fine, but this actress I thought had that just mother slash grandmotherly figure to it that just I thought worked better tone wise. She's knowledgeable. She got a little twinkle in her eye, but she's also willing to smoke a cigarette. Not too bright. There you go. Hey, a lot of people said about Keanu Reeves himself, not too bright, but hey, he was smart enough to say no to Speed 2 cruise control. But just going through trivia, the opening action scene took 6 months of training and 4 days to shoot. Whoops. Keanu Reeves suffered a two-level fusion of his cervical spine, which had begun to cause paralysis in his legs, requiring him to undergo neck surgery. He was still recovering during pre-production, but insisted on training. Yuen Wu-ping let him practice only punches and lighter moves. Reeves trained hard and even requested training on days off. However, the surgery left him unable to kit for 2 out of the 4 months of training. As a result, Reeves did not kit much in the film. You saw him kit a little bit in the training bits with Laurence Fishburne, but not a whole lot. Like, and then that hospital thing was more with the guns. Shot almost entirely in Sydney, Australia. On the first day of shooting, Hugo Weaving suffered an injury to his leg, which turned out to be a polyp that had to be surgically removed. For a while, there was suggestion that he would have to be recast, but by shifting the schedule around so that all of his stunt work would take place at the end of the shooting, Weaving was able to keep the part. By the middle of 2002, the famous bullet time sequence had appeared to have been spoofed in over 20 different films. Yeah, it was also in Scary Movie. They spoofed it in that. The final budget was $60 million. Ghost in the Shell, the manga, and the anime were big influences on the development of this film. Let's see. William Gibson's novel Neuromancer was an influence on the film. After watching the film, William Gibson commented that the way the film's creators had drawn from existing cyberpunk works was exactly the kind of creative cultural osmosis he had relied upon in his own writing. But the film's Gnostic themes distinguished it from Neuromancer and believed it was thematically closer to the work of Philip K. Dick. According to composer Don Davis, Johnny Depp was the Wachowskis' first choice for Neo, but Warner Bros. Wanted Brad Pitt or Val Kilmer. They declined. Warner was willing to consider Depp, and it came down to Depp and Keanu Reeves, whom Warner was pushing. Guess that must have been after Will Smith. I don't know. I mean, if Don Davis, if that's what he said, then I don't know how Will Smith's involved. See, now it says here when the idea of the Matrix was in early development in the early 90s, their first choice for the role was Neo, was Brandon Lee, but he died tragically on the set of The Crow. I mean, it says that, but I don't know how truthful that is. Yeah, fuck it, let's... Deja Vu. Deja Vu was a glitch in the Matrix and they realized something is going on here. Oh shit. I mean, people say that, but I like to have an actual interview that says. Chad Stahelski, who became the stunt double for Keanu Reeves in The Matrix, and director John Wick, began his career by stepping in to finish work on the role after Brandon Lee's death. Some believe he was never formally offered the part, or that the film was not yet in active casting when he passed. So it could have been like the what if. Which I do think Brandon Lee could have pulled it off very well. I do. But yeah, that poster, everyone remembers that poster. That poster is classic. And the trailer is very well done. Like the piece of music in the trailer, the only other trailer I could think of that had that was The Longest Good Night. But man, it was such an epic feel, that music, that really captured the excitement. I can't even do it right, but it's a really good trailer that really gets you going, and a great trailer can really sell a film tremendously. That's a cool looking shot with the how thin the between the walls, and having the camera be able to go down and show where everybody's at. That's such a cool looking shot. Such a cool looking shot. Now, granted, it doesn't make the most sense because you see just how much black is on the side, like darkness. But the agent literally just punches through and is able to try to grab Neo. Eventually, gets Fishburne. But you see that there's like a big space between that even an arm would not be able to reach it. See, look, the arm just reaches through. Then we saw the wide shot. We saw how much darkness was on the sides, and then now it's like paper thin. Maybe this one section is paper thin. The rest of it had like 5 feet of wall. In 1994, the Wachowskis presented the script for the film Assassins to Warner Bros. Pictures. After reading the script, Lorenzo de Bonaventura, the company's president of production at the time, decided to purchase it and include two more films, Bound and The Matrix. The Wachowskis first directed Bound, which became a critical success. Using this momentum, they asked to direct The Matrix. In 1996, the Wachowskis pitched the role of Neo to Will Smith. Will Smith explained on his YouTube channel that the idea was for him to be Neo and Val Kilmer would be Morpheus. He didn't understand the concept, turned it down for Wild Wild West. Brad Pitt also turned down the role of Neo. Joel Silver soon joined the project as a producer. The Matrix was still a big gamble for Warner Brothers. The studio was investing $60 million in the script by a pair of relatively inexperienced directors who wanted to use complicated special effects that had never been achieved before. They hired comic book artists Jeff Darrow and Steve Stroch to create a 600-page shot-by-shot storyboard for the entire film. It earned the approval of Warner Brothers, and the decision was made to film in Australia to make the most of the budget. Soon it was a co-production of Warner Brothers and Village Roadshow Pictures. When the production team sent an edit to studio executives featuring Trinity's encounter with the police and agents at the beginning of the film, the project had total support from Warner Brothers. Directors loved Hong Kong action cinema, so they got Yuen Woo-ping to work on fight scenes. The actors had to train hard for several months. Yuen Woo-ping let the actor's body style develop and worked with each actor's strength. Keanu Reeves' diligence, Laurence Fishburne's resilience, Hugo Weaving's precision, and Carrie Moss's grace. Then you have the Keanu Reeves 2-level fusion of his spine, his neck. So yeah, the early stuff Keanu Reeves shot was the stuff that since he could not do a lot physically. So the interrogation room scene in Thomas Anderson's office, the car rides. The team filmed extra footage of Neo dodging bullets in case the bullet time process did not work. Filmed on a roof of Symantec Corporation building in Kent Street, opposite Sussex Street. Let's see. Don Davis did the score. Great score on all three of these films. Production design. Visual effects, of course. Won Oscars for Best Film Editing, Best Sound Editing, Best Visual Effects, and Best Sound. Which they beat Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Bet that must have pissed George Lucas off. All these details of, we got, the effects. If you look at that documentary on The Phantom Menace about the effects, and then the Matrix comes out and beats you. I bet that put a bug up George Lucas's ass. Fuck George Lucas. I mean, he did a lot of stupid shit. I mean, Disney Star Wars sucked, but I don't give him a fucking pass either. I didn't think about that. Max Payne, the video game, came out after this in 2001. And that, there's the slow-mo, and you see the bullets to whiz by you, and you're shooting. I didn't think about that. It was parodied in Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, Scary Movie, Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Video games like Conker's Bad Fur Day. It was in Charlie's Angels, Equilibrium. There's the Russian film Night Watch. Even Wanted a bit. Man. I mean, hell, look at X-Men in 2000. Why do you think all the X-Men wear black in that movie? Because you look at The Matrix. They all wore black, and that was cool. And then they made that joke, what do you want, yellow spandex? But no, let's be honest. The reason you all wear black is because the Matrix, everyone wore black, and that was the cool, kick-ass, hip thing. Look at the fucking poster of the Matrix. X-Men, yeah, you all wear black. And again, that came out 2000. I mean, hell, when was that being actually made? Let me see. When was it being shot? I'm just curious. September 1999 to March 2000. So you can't fucking tell me no one saw this and said, oh, Chad Stahelski, The Matrix literally changed the industry. The influx of martial arts choreographers and fight coordinators now makes more, and they are more prevalent and powerful in the industry than stunt coordinators. The Matrix revolutionized that. Today, action movies want their big scenes designed around the fights. Sorry, I know. Better stop ours. I'm just going to keep reading the whole thing. But yeah, there's a lot of info out there about the Matrix, at least. So yeah. And yeah, this scene here, you get like the first inclination that Hugo Weaving's character is a bit different from the other agents. Just there's that bit that he's kind of just not begging, not maybe not quite pleading, but close to it, that he does not want to be here. He does not want to be in this. You know, he wants to leave. He wants to get the fuck out of here. He's tired of this bullshit. Just even the other agents like, what are you doing? Now, I don't know how far the directors had and what they wanted to take these characters to. But if there's an inclination of what they wanted, that would have been the first bit for Agent Smith. That again shows that he's going to be a bit different from the other ones. Or they put that in as just a nice character moment for Hugo Weaving to act, and then when they we're going to do a sequel. Hey, that line there. Let's follow up on that. Oh, the decision of they're thinking of kind of taking him off life support, so to speak. And it's an important decision to make. Sorry, I'm not saying anything. It's just I just like the line. This is loco. I don't know why. For some reason that makes me laugh. I don't know. Something about that makes me laugh. I don't know why. Why did this actor not return for the second Matrix film? Yeah, Marcus Chong, who played Tank, did not return due to a heated salary dispute and alleged conflicts with the filmmakers. Keanu was offered unfair pay for the sequels and was allegedly denied the opportunity to read the script before signing. Contentious phone calls. Leading producer to write his character out of the script. Character was mentioned as having died between the films, with his brother-in-law Link, played by Harold Perrineau Jr., taking over as operator. Director claimed he was blacklisted, detailing his version of events in a personal account. I don't know if you could hear this, but I'd be curious to.
Why didn't I do the Matrix sequels? That's easy. I had first worked for Warner Brothers when I was 10 years old in Roots: The Next Generation. Um, when I had turned 18 years old, my birth name, my child actor name was Marcus Wyatt, and I was estranged from my father. I wanted to reinvent myself as an adult actor, so I changed my name to Marcus Chong. I had done Broadway. I won the Theater World Award. I had a big film.
Okay, to be honest, I don't know why he's telling his life story. Just answer the question, but okay.
Called Panther. I was the lead in. I was on the posters and billboards, and my name was everywhere at the time. I was one of the hot tickets in town. And so Mally Finn, who had cast the Titanic, who was also the casting director for The Matrix, she called me up. She got my phone number from Screen Actors Guild. And she asked me if I was interested in doing The Matrix for Warner Brothers. And I said, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I be?
Okay, I didn't ask you how you got the Matrix. I asked why you weren't in the sequels, but okay. Okay, this is the same guns, lots of guns. Then apparently, in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, they were going to write Keanu Reeves to say that line, but I guess they didn't want to mention the word guns. I'm like, okay. But apparently that line, which Keanu Reeves does say in John Wick 3, but apparently they also would want to have him say in Sonic 3, which they should have, but oh well. But this is a great visual scene where all the guns are. Then that's what I mean. Cool stuff like that just makes the film worthwhile.
And so I read the audition, and I went in to meet with Larry and Andy Wachowski and Mally, and they hired me on the spot. I hit it out the park, and we basically started prepping for the film a year in advance. And so when we were prepping for the film, I had to pay for all my expenses. I wasn't taking on any other projects, so because I didn't want to move on to something else when I gave my word, my handshake on such a deal. And so when it came time for me to go to Sydney, Australia, I had to pay for my own visa to travel. I had to basically, what they did was Warner Brothers cashed in my first class plane ticket, cashed in my 5-star hotel accommodations, and put me into a little apartment by myself in the middle of downtown Sydney. And I was paying myself my per diem to survive for the first 3 months that I was in Sydney. And so when it came time for me to do my first day of shoot, there was no one to pick me up. There was no ride, there was no van, there was no shuttle, there was no car, nothing like that. I had to walk to Fox Studios Sydney by myself. When I got there was no name for me. My name was not at the security guard booth, so the security guards would not let me in. I had to call the production office. A PA came down to give me permission to come in to shoot my own film, and it was like that the whole shoot. I had to walk to work every day to film, and then walk home in the dark at night in a foreign country. Very unprofessional. They had a running gag on the set when we were shooting the film, which is some different person every day, from a production assistant to even John Gator, who did the special effects, would come up to me and say, "Hey, doesn't your character die in the movie?" Which I thought was very bizarre. My response to them was, haven't you read the script? And so I wanted to protect my role the best I could, no matter whatever antics or shenanigans that they were doing. I wanted to make certain that my role was protected and solid. I'm not going to get into the drugs that was going on during the production that people were doing, that I would, stay far clear from.
Okay, who was doing the drugs? Now you're saying drugs? Who was doing drugs?
I'm not going to say any names. They know who they are.
Why not say the names?
And so when it came time to finish shooting, I had to relocate myself back to Hollywood. No relocation fees. There would be no unemployment. I mean, The Matrix was a complete renegade production. And so when you're hired out of Hollywood by Warner Brothers Studio and you're a Screen Actors Guild member, there's a codified basic agreement with SAG and the federal government and Warner Brothers where they have to give you a SAG contract in order to get your royalties. I have never gotten a royalty yet because Warner Brothers never honored that codified basic agreement. They never gave me a SAG contract. Whereas the actors from Australia, the character who played Dozer, Switch, APOC, they all get royalties. And so there was some kind of discrimination going on. I just considered they were pimping the game, and they pimped the game on that one, to pay for whatever entertainment and fun that they want. I went over there. This is about 2 weeks before the film would premiere, and they had a press junket there. I didn't know that they had a press junket there, but when the producer...
I mean, to be fair to him, yeah, if, you didn't fuck around like that and you're not getting residuals, which can be important to a smaller time actor and such. I mean, some may say, like, okay, getting a ride, yeah, it's unprofessional, but it's like, whatever. I get to be in a big budget studio film. I'll walk. I don't give a fuck, but whatever. Who gives a shit? But, like, don't complain about everything. Complain about the important things. So yeah, this is like the one kid he was able to do. And I know I'm talking, this lobby scene explains itself. It's a fantastic scene. Great slow-mo. Definitely John Woo inspired with the slow motion. Two guns ablazing, like John Woo's The Killer and Hard Boiled and such. Definitely one of the big scenes of the movie. It pretty much explains itself. There's not much more to add to it, so I'm just trying to get through this.
Larry and Andy Wachowski, they found out that I was there, even though I was invited by Angela Pritchard. They were furious, and they had 5 or 6 security guards come down with, earplugs in, the whole gamut, armed, and they physically removed me from that lot and told me if I ever came to that lot again that they would have me arrested. when the film came out at the premiere, they wouldn't even let me go into the theater to see the premiere of my own film. And so I was like, whatever. I drove myself to the premiere. I was told I couldn't go into the premiere. They did everything they could to keep me out. And so the movie became the number one film in the world. It was a phenomenon. It made a bunch of money. It was a big hit, and it went through the roof. And so Warner Brothers and Larry and Andy Wachowski wanted to bring my character, Tank the Operator, back to the sequels. Joey Pantoliano, who played Cypher, he got $1 million to do the one film, The Matrix. So my entertainment attorneys said that they were going to give me at least $1 million, because I'm doing 3 films. And so Larry and Andy Wachowski, instead of writing me a $3 million role or a $1 million role for Reload and Revolutions, they wrote, basically a $25,000 role for each film. I saw the films, and they replaced Tank the Operator with a character that they wrote in called Link. And that was a really minuscule role, nothing to it. There was nothing there. It was just basically blah. And so they wouldn't let anyone read the scripts until they had signed a contract prior. So, what I saw in those.
I wonder how much that guy Harold Perrineau got paid if it was the 25,000. I mean, yeah, no one's going to give a really fuck. I mean, I I liked him in the movie. It sucks he was in the sequels. Was he important? Like prevalent? No. Of course, this great scene was a slow mo. The most famous scene in the movie, of course, ended the trailers, all that stuff. The 360 camera. Still looks cool to this day. Still think it looks really neat. I love this this thing here. Dodge this. Again, just the camera angles, the use of slow mo, when and when not to use it. Not fast enough. And yeah, I just remember when I saw this in the theater, I'm like, wow, the action scenes are cool, and the shootout is epic, and wow, the fight scenes, like kung fu type of fight scenes. And then I'm like, oh shit, he's got a fucking minigun. This is my kind of movie.
Films though was not good, and I would never have signed on for those films just in that in itself. So on my birthday, July 8th, 2000, I was with Larry and Andy Wachowski at the Eon Productions, and I told Larry, you're going to have to give me $1 million to do these sequels. And he told me straight out, looked me in my eye and said, we're not giving you $1 million. And I said, well, then I'm not going to do these films. And they were pissed and furious. And Larry Wachowski, he looked at me and he said, if you don't do these sequels, we'll kill you.
Okay, I don't know if they said if you don't do these sequels, we'll kill you, because guess what? He didn't do the sequels and he's still alive. Yeah, I don't know about that. They may have said, I don't know. That's a bit much. I don't know. I'd be like, you two are some schlubby fucks. You go ahead, try to kill me. I'll kill you first. Morpheus got constipated. It's like, you were able to break those handcuffs all along? No, yeah. Yeah, I get roided up. And that's a cool shot, the way the camera goes around there to see that you got hit in the ankle. again, just like one cool thing after another. After I keep repeating that because there's no better way to shoot. It's like, oh, here's this awesome. Yeah, that's what made it. It's like one after another after another. Now we got this great Star Wars where two people hang off a fucking helicopter. Now the up close shots of Keanu and Fishburne, of course, are. But you still have these wide shots. Look at that, a real helicopter, real people hanging off the chopper. The wide shots are crazy, just how dangerous that is. I would assume with those wide shots is we got a wire that'll go down your arm and will connect inside the shirts of the stunt double for Fishburne. So that, you know, if something happens, you won't just automatically fall if he can't keep holding on. Look at Fishburne's face like, what the fuck? I mean, yeah, you're pretty much holding a fucking falling helicopter steady. Well, no. Here it's got Carrie Ann. That ripple effect, even that looks really cool. To this day, that still holds up pretty damn well. Still a pretty damn effective sequence. I think just the timing, the focus, the timing. Like this last bit is just pretty relentless in a good way. I mean, you think about it, the hotel lobby, the bullet time, the insane minigun helicopter escape thing. Then you don't have the fight between him and, you know, Smith in the subway. Sorry about this. Of course, I did miss. The whole fucking day I'm not getting texted. Then, of course, when then I get texted. I know I haven't commented a lot on the big scenes, but it's like what more can be said about those big fucking scenes, you know, that has been said before. Well choreographed. See, $60 million budget. This was used very well in this movie. Because I've seen films that cost $200 million that don't look nearly as good as this fucking film. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, The Eternals, Captain America, Brave New World. Like all these movies that come out that cost 200, 300 million, even with how things have changed money-wise from 99 to here, it still be I mean, this still costs a lot less than those movies, yet this is a much better looking film. Mr. Anderson. Starting to believe. Another great shot. Them going towards each other. The 360. So are you. And this really does have that great kind of mano a mano, equal footing that then you see in the third one as they're alone, and you have the whole city looking at them, or now Smiths, and kind of this toe to toe, but much more of a Superman style. There's a few ticks in there. God, just great choreography, man. Great choreography. Again, I like that they have these wide. Like, look at that. Like, look how many hits and choreography bits you have before cutting. Tick, ba 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 ba, and then you cut. Not before the first punch you cut, then before the second punch you cut, then maybe you do two punches, then you cut, then you turn your head, it cuts, then you lift your leg, it cuts, then it cuts you. It doesn't do that. And again, it's wide enough to see the head, the waist, the arms, not the fight scenes here, but like wide enough to see what they can fully do. Then look at here, from waist up, you see the full. Again, it doesn't feel. It makes it less confusing. It makes it more. I love that bit with the that choke bit with the putting up the hand. That's something I haven't really seen done often. Oh, not close enough. Cool little detail, cool little bit there, Dad. And like this is a wire work that's used well because since they are define gravity as part of the plot, the story, the sci-fi element, it makes sense. Some movies, it's like, how can you defy gravity when it's like, what? They just do it without even logic within their own universe. My name is Neo. And I love this bat flip as well. That's a great bat flip. Again, great wide shot. Man. That fight's still good, still holds up. This movie still holds up. It really does. And you could watch this as its own film. I mean, I think some people do because they adore the sequels. Consider how many other fucking franchises, dude. I'm surprised they're like, we want to make a sequel. We want to make a sequel, but we will ignore 2 and 3. But yet, because the Wachowskis own it. But can you imagine if someone doing that? Like, I want to make an alternate Matrix 2. It's like what Neil Blomkamp wanted to do, a sequel to Aliens, ignoring Alien 3. I mean, they've done that. Hell, Halloween 2018. Halloween 2018 would ignore everything since Halloween 1. So it's Halloween and then Halloween 2018. Or even Halloween, Halloween 2, then Halloween H2O. It ignored 4, 5, 6, etc. You know what? That stuff I'd be more intrigued with. I would. Because that way you can pick your poison. Like, how do you want this? Do you want to watch Halloween as Halloween 1, 2, and H2O? Do you want to watch it as Halloween 1, then 2018 and those other films? Do you want to watch it, however you want to? Pick your own adventure. Like this, if someone said, we're going to make a Matrix sequel that it follows the first film and goes in trajectory we wanted to go, them fighting the machines, defeating the machines, blah, blah, blah. Don't have the Wachowskis. There you go. People go, well, if someone told you you have to make a Matrix film, a Matrix sequel, what would you do? I would go, number one, don't have the Wachowskis involved. I want someone brand new involved. Number two, make a sequel to this film. And I like Matrix 2 and 3, but ignore it. And what if this was after the Matrix 2? I mean, after the Matrix. Like, this is the sequel. Like, get a general consensus of what people would have wanted from a Matrix 2 that you did not get. Granted, too late. They're too old. Yeah. But that's the other problem. Because my real answer would be don't make anything at all. Just stop it. Because they killed, especially after the fourth one, they killed interest in that fucking franchise. They killed after 2 and 3, like I said before. But anyway. But I guess there's that part of me that would be curious to see what the audience wanted from Matrix 2, what that kind of movie would have been. That what if. Compared to the ones we got. Again, I know it's weird me saying this. I like Matrix 2 and 3 for what they are. But what the audience wanted from Matrix 2, I'd be curious to see how that would have played out. Now, I remember this being like a shocking moment in the theater. Like, what the fuck? Like, didn't expect it. Did not expect him getting shot like this. And then especially the multiple pa 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 pa. And did not expect that at all. Like that right there. And then like multiple shot like that. Did not expect that. Also, you see how much time this takes where he's alive, he stops the bullets. Remember, those creatures are breaking in. They broken into the ship. They are inside the ship. So, like, that Sentinel, what's it doing? It's inside the ship. It broke the hull of the ship. What's it doing? Playing cards? Using the bathroom? Is it using the toilet? We saw it break in, so that I think is a bit iffy where it's broken to the hole. What's it doing now? Is it just tearing the whole ship a new asshole? Like, okay, you see that laser there. Like, I think that this set was taking a sweet ass time. Like, if it has a laser that is able to go through, like, scissor through paper. Imagine you had like a package and you cut in the package, from the mail. How long that takes you, and then they're taking their sweet ass time. They're on a coffee break. They're like, I ain't getting paid enough for this shit. I don't take my sweet ass time. Yeah, the awesome moment. No, fuck that shit. Just stops the bullets. And that goes back to what Laurence Fishburne's character was saying. You may have to dodge bullets. I mean, when the time comes, you won't need to. He doesn't need to. Just stop the bullets. That's also the thing is that now, when you get to the journey, that now your character is pretty all powerful. Now you have to kind of rework as to what you can do to make the action scenes more for him to have trials and tribulations with. Because now, if he could defeat an agent one-handed, and he could stop bullets, and then at the very end he can fly, well, now what obstacles are in his way? Now what issues and problems are in his way? Now what possible points of defeat can you bring his way for a guy who is now more Superman? And that's kind of a handcuff it gave to itself for the sequels. And here, you know, once he become the Superman, now you gotta have even bigger, tougher. What obstacles did you put in Neo's way for it to be a challenge that our hero can overcome? You know what I mean? It works great for the ending of this film. And the agent's like, fuck this. Yeah, in case you've forgotten, this thing is taking like 5 minutes to break in because he sucks at his job. Big old EMP pulse. I like it doesn't like once boom that's done. It doesn't overstand its welcome. It doesn't overstand its stay. It doesn't lollygag around. It's Trinity and Neo have a moment. You have this phone call. I'm gonna fuck you shit up. It's our time now, bitch. And then get to where we need to go. Then yeah, the Rage Against the Machine, which fits well with this. See, again, the way this looks as if I'm gonna fuck your shit up, not, what do I have a truce? And again, I think like the way they're kind of selling the audience of in the first film is not really what they delivered. Is like it's kind of like misleading the audience in a way. You know what I mean? I think some people maybe felt that way too, and they felt a bit burned by that. And I can understand that. Even when I first saw it, like I loved the sequels, but I'm like, it's not really what seemed like we were promised with the first movie. But anyway. Still a great movie, still holds up, still an awesome fucking film. And I did, I let a lot of the big scenes, I didn't really say much. Because, I mean, what more can I say other than I keep repeating the word cool ad nauseum? Everyone did a great job. A lot of style, a lot of cool camera shots and choices for the camera work. Cutting edge special effects, action scenes really up the ante. Gloria Foster, rest in peace to her. I thought she did a really good job. Sad that she passed away by the time he did the sequels. Marcus Chong, dude, I'm sure they fucked with you. I don't know if they said we're gonna kill you. I mean, if so, I would have laughed. I'd be like, okay, you guys, you go ahead and try to kill me, you little fat fucks. You ain't gonna get far. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe what he meant was, okay, I just thought of this. They meant we'll kill your character. That might have been, okay, that I'm interpreted a different way. That might have been what they meant. We're going to kill you, meaning we're going to kill your character off, which they did kill the character off. So, okay, that might have been what they meant. Okay, well, if that's the case, then okay, that's more believable. So, more believable. So, hey, Marcus Chong, somehow you seen this. I believe your story a bit more, because, yeah, that's probably what they were saying. We're going to kill your character off, which they did, so. I mean, $1 million is a lot of money. Granted, it's for 2 movies and such, but I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, did Harold Perrineau get $1 million? And well, Joe Pantoliano got $1 million. Well, I mean, he's more of a name than you. He was in The Goonies. He was in Bad Boys. He's been in a lot of other films. So I don't know. But, I mean, that still seems a bit high to me. But I mean, if you were like $25,000 is pretty fucking low though too. I'd be like, dude. I mean, if it's that many years for 2 movies, I'm trying to think like how much you pay for agents, how much you pay for taxes. That's a lot of time. So, would you have to keep paying your bills if you're away for that many months or years? You'd have to keep paying your bills each month, right? Maybe you could call and go, hey, could you shut this off and I will turn it back on. But even rent, it's not like you just, hey, shut off the rent. You probably have to keep paying it even though you don't live there, right? So you don't lose it? I would think. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that works. But yeah, that seemed 25,000. If I mean, if that's what they were offering him, then yeah, that's a bit fucking low for these big budget films. And I'm a returning character, and you know these. It's not like these films. You know, this film made money. You have a lot bigger budget to play with. Like, come on. But like, if they were going to put like Harold Perrineau, like what they did with that character, and the character had a wife and stuff, and all the Zion scenes. If you don't make him throughout that with a decent amount of stuff to do, it's like, yeah, you know, give me a little bit more, man. Because I mean, yeah, there's a party that has to be a bit greedy, because if you don't, then people will take advantage of you, and you may feel like a dick, but at the same time, you know, you have to protect yourself to a point as well. I don't know why this became like more talk about the character of Tank, but it's just an interesting story to me. But and hey, you know, bring a little bit different to the commentary than anybody else would. What can I say? But great job on the people involved. Great, still a great film. Still holds up to this day, and definitely one of my favorite films of 1999. What a great year! I mean, Fight Club, The Blair Witch Project, and a lot of big films. American Beauty was a big film. Whether you liked it or not, The Phantom Menace was a big film. Sixth Sense was a big film. A lot of big films in 1999. So, The Mummy, that's a good one. So thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Fadi. Hope you enjoyed. I will do the review after this. And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye for now.